Hello everyone, the Panda Photographer here, and we're going to talk about the Fuji X1T and what you mirrorless shooters out there. Now, Sony is not the only manufacturer that makes mirrorless cameras, and I keep letting my audience know that Sony is not just the only individual camera manufacturer that makes mirrorless cameras. Fuji is top tier. It makes some of the best crop sensor mirrorless cameras on the market. Now, the X1T is the top tier crop sensor, and it's coming with a 24 megapixel sensor, which is cropped. It's going to come with 4K 30 frames per second, and this is a big deal for a lot of people that had the XT2. It's going to come with iris stabilization on the sensor, so you're going to be able to get those nice crispy steady shots, and it's going to be priced at $1,900 US. So if you are a mirrorless shooter that is thinking about, or an existing Fuji shooter that is thinking about upgraded to the X from the XT2, then this might be the camera. This might be the camera for you. Now, take this with a grain of salt. Now, I don't shoot Fuji personally, but I've been thinking about converting over to Fuji for a long time because Fuji's been doing some amazing things. Now, take this with a grain of salt, is that I know I have a big learning curve when it comes down to the Fuji cameras, but the more I study online about the Fuji camera system, the more better I'm very influenced and educated about how it really works. But let's talk about the new feature that's coming with this X-H1, which is going to have a high-res top LCD panel, which I got rid of the compensation exposure dial, which a lot of you are going to be very disappointed about because some of you wanted that exposure dial to still be there, but it's not. They replaced it with the high top tier LCD screen that's going to give you information on what you shoot at, shutter speeds, ISOs, and such forth. And this is another improvement from its predecessor. It's going to have a better, deeper grip. So the grip is going to have some amazing economics and feel to it, because some of you have been asking for a deeper grip, and Fuji listened. Fuji listened to you guys out there and said, hey, this make our customers and our consumers happy with a better and deeper grip for comfortability. So that's a big bonus there. It's going to have a three-way flip screen, and some people have different opinions about the flip screen, but in my opinion, I find the flip screen to be just as better than the Sony's, to be honest, because Sony's is, it's to say Sony's still sticking with that articulate one flip screen design, and I really feel like Sony should be listening to Fuji and its consumers when it comes down to the flip screen design and dynamic department on this one. It's going to come with a joystick or thumbstick for if you need to go through menus very easily. I do enjoy using the thumbstick. The thumbstick is very promising. You can see the joystick here, and you can see the LCD screen here, and you can see there's no, as I said, no compensation exposure dial. I got rid of that, and like I said, most of you guys are going to be very disappointed with that. But, and you can see from the front of the camera, and you can see that it has the shutter speed dial, and it's going to have the ISO dial, and it's going to have, have you noticed the button layout quickly? The button layout is much deeper and much more better than its predecessor on the XT2. So, but it's going to come with a better EVF, and Fuji has always been improving on the EVFs. That's big bonus. A better autofocus, and from a lot of you that I have heard from and read online, that the autofocus system on most of the Fuji cameras is really good. So if Fuji went out their way to improve the autofocus capabilities, this is a message to Sony, like we can compete with the autofocus system. So pretty bonus, but it's going to have a quieter shutter. So if you want to shoot weddings or events, and you can have that quiet shutter feature on the camera. It's going to have a touch LCD screen on the back. So yes, the LCD screen is touchable. It's going to be touchscreen, and it's going to have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, so you have better capabilities to connect it from your smartphone to your camera, so it helps in a lot of ways. But you can see that the layout is pretty unique, and you can see that deep grip than its predecessor. So this is the predecessor here, and this is the H1, and you can see that grip is, I would say, 50% better than its predecessor, and this is going to be such a big improvement overall, and it's much bigger and heavier, by the way, so keep that in mind. Now you can buy the grip for $330. When you buy the grip, it's going to increase your battery from 1 battery to 3 batteries, so that's good. And also it's going to increase that frame per second from 8 to 11, and that means that you are going to be shooting from 15 minutes to 30 minutes in 4K recording. And yes, it does come with a headphone jack as well. And without the grip, economically, it shoots 8 frames per second mechanically, which is 31 raw files. So if you guys are curious about that, and 11 frames per second, which is going to give you 28 raw files with the grip. So, and a lot of people are saying that maybe Fuji should have improved the battery life, and made, since it came with a bigger grip, maybe they should have made a bigger battery for it. But I guess Fuji wanted to actually keep the same batteries, but you get, at least you get 3 batteries, so you don't have to lug around batteries. It's going to give you the flexibility to also not keep swapping out batteries, so just in case you don't miss a shot. So that's a big bonus. So here's the X-T2 and here's the G5 as comparison. You can see the buttons are much deeper and better, but overall it's a really unique camera. Now for you video makers out there, I didn't forget about you video makers out there, so listen up. So with you video makers, it's going to have internal f-log with better diameter range. So yes, you'll be able to shoot an f-log internally on this camera. So yes, this camera is actually designed for also video makers and photographers alike on a crop sensor camera. And I'm telling you, Fuji is doing big things. I've been telling this for months already. I said it in like back in August, like Fuji's gonna come up with something better and a better crop sensor, and it's gonna compete with Sony. And this is what I'm keep telling you individuals out there, that Sony is not the only freaking manufacturer that's making beautiful cameras. Yes, Fuji doesn't mess with the full frame spectrum, and they have their reasons why, but they are really unique and really passionate about the crop sensor, and they're trying to compete with the full frame, and I think Fuji is doing such a great job doing it. But anyway, it's going to have better face detection in video, just in case if you guys are wondering about the face detection in video. It's going to improve. So keep in mind, it's going to have 4K at 30 frames per second at 200 megabits per second. So this also fixes some of the artifacting issues inside the camera. So if you are wondering about video megabits per second and buffering, the 200 megabits per second is going to solve some of the artifacting issues inside the camera. Now if you are thinking about buying this camera to make a movie in cinema mode or cinema 4K, they do have DCI 4K at 24 frames per second, but I'm not sure who will want to shoot with this camera for cinema movies. Some of you may be out there looking for a camera to shoot movies with, but you have that option. Yes, it has the same crop at 4K at 1.17x, so if you're thinking about it, yes, it still crops down to 1.17x, so same crop as the X-T2. So but here's the bonus: at least you get 120 frames per second and 1080p, so it does improve the slow-mo capability. So if you think about making some cinematic shots for your YouTube channel or your documentaries or your short films, yes, 2x slow-mo is big bonus, so 120 frames per second slow-mo. It's going to have time coder and anti-flicker, so when you are in movie mode or watch or making movies or making YouTube content, you're not going to have that flickering that you see in most cameras that have come out. But it's going to have a silent movie control feature, which is a big bonus. So as I said before, a bigger and better, deeper grip, which is a lot of what a lot of people wanted, and people wanted something that's gonna resolve some of the issues that the X-T2 should have, and this is an answer to a lot of it. The X-H1 is a better camera at $1,900. I have to say, for the price, I think this is a steal. This is big bonus steal. So if you guys are curious about this camera, I left a link so you can pre-order it. So the link is down in the descriptions below, so go pre-order it, and you guys let me know what you think about the X-H1 and if you're gonna pre-order it or not. And this is to you Fuji shooters out there, because I love you too, because you're part of my Panda Nation audience. But this is a big improvement over its predecessor, and I believe Fuji is making waves, and I hope Fuji crushes it right now. I hope Fuji crushes the market and competes with Sony, because I'm sick of all these Sony fanboys like, I'm converting from Canon to Sony and making these videos about why I switched to Sony. Why don't you make a video about why I switched to Fuji? To me, Fuji is overall a better camera manufacturer when it comes down to listen to its consumers and its customers and its users overall. But this is all I have to say about the Fuji X-H1. If I had the money, I'd definitely go buy it. That means I have to invest in new lenses, but I believe this is the future of Fuji, and this is going to be a better future for Fuji, and Fuji always have listened to its customer base. So thank you for watching, everyone. If you do like the content, please do subscribe to to this channel. Please hit the notification button, and if you like the content, please do. But if you want to support what I do as a photographer, videographer, YouTuber, I do have a PayPal link down in the descriptions below. But please, if you're consider pre-ordering this, I left the link right in the Amazon link right in the description below. Pre-order it. It's going to be worth your while. With that said, eat, sleep, photography, repeat, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.